Now, Peter, I'm asking you this in the context of here in Victoria, again at Parkdale Secondary College, a government school, 16-year-old boys told to stand up because they are Christian, white and male. You pointed out that the Liberal Party, the coalition, has won most of the last elections. Why does it feel we are losing?
A combination of things. There is a lack of bravery with many of them. I mean, look at the fact that Peter Dutton in 3 months in that portfolio has done more than his predecessors.
Cancelling one Tea Party has sent a stronger signal than anything we've done in years.
Correct. And told them to get back to their knitting of protecting Australia. You're the Defence Force, you know? You're nothing more than the Defence Force. As good as the Defence Force is, you're not a cultural, advanced party of the woke. There's a lack of bravery. And it's excused away as pragmatism, but it's an absence of conviction. It's not being pragmatic. In my view, it's being weak. Again, Daniel Andrews wouldn't waste his time in office. And on the culture issues, the coalition has had 3 terms and moved the needle not a titch, right, on the big cultural issues. I mean, even the commitments, and I have reservations about legislating religious freedom.
As the IPA does.
I have serious reservations. But there was nonetheless 5 years now a commitment that there would be protections for religious entities. Now, we can see in Queensland at the moment the debate about euthanasia and a range of faith-based aged care homes being forced by the draft legislation at least to do something that is absolutely against their conscience. They have no federal protections because for 5 years Malcolm Turnbull promised everything would happen and nothing has happened. Nothing's been advanced. So it's all of those things. I think the coalition has got a bit of a Labor disease in that they see now holding power as an end justifies the means, or the most important, as important as it is, there's no good being there if you're minding the shop, as Thatcher would say. There's no good being there, and the only thing you can say to defend yourself is you're better than the other side. Well, only, with Malcolm Turnbull, only marginally. There's no good being there if you don't do something with it. Now, the mantle of national security, fine. The mantle of economic security, we're in trouble with that budget for a whole range of reasons I can talk about. And I accept some level of stimulus spending. This is 4 years baked in, recurrent, going like that stimulus spending. That is not what it is. And so if you put that to one side, what about all of these other things? Where is the defence of gender and normative gender? Where is pushing back on the curriculum? Incredibly important.
We have this happening right now. We are about to have identity politics. We are about to have critical race theory baked in, as you've said, into the curriculum.
Correct.
We will have young people learning up to hate themselves and hate Australia, and the coalition hasn't said.
Well, and the best that the Minister Alan Tudge has said is he doesn't agree with it. He'll vote against it, but he's one of many votes in the room.
That's
now,
right.
his predecessor, but the federal coalition set up a review. Number one lesson in politics: never have a review and unless you know what the final outcome's going to be. So they went down a path, opened up this issue, basically put the pen in charge of the unions and the hard left inside the various bureaucracies of education, and they wonder why they've got this unintended consequence.
Can I then ask you a broader question related to this that the IPA has spent a lot of time working on over recent years, which is, has the centre-right or libertarians or conservatives or classical liberals relied too much on the Liberal Party to carry the torch for freedom? On the left and the centre-left, you've got the union movement, you've got civil society, you've got the party itself, you've got the media. It seems that on the centre-right we tend to rely too much on the coalition and too often we are let down.
2 points there. One, I think a very strong, broader organ on the centre-right puts steel in the spine of Liberals, and weak Liberals can't hide if you're putting pressure on them. But it also gives them a level of support, so they're not always the one going over the top of the parapet. So it's a positive. So it's a stick and a carrot, right? But I also think that one of the great tragedies in the last 15 years in politics, and I started in 98, has been this change in the Liberal Party. I mean, it used to be, when I worked for Richard Alston and Robert Hill, and Robert Hill's a great moderate, right? But Brendan Nelson, all these people could have done anything else with their lives, but they chose public life. And many of them took great hits to their pay and the usual sacrifices we hear about with family, but they so believed in the cause and also prepared all of them to walk away if they had to. Not so now. You know, the best thing most politicians will ever do is be a politician. They're not people who could have done other things. They get in there, they hold on to their stack branches, they've got there, they'll do whatever it takes to stay. They're not prepared on a point of principle to walk. And that gives you I think, a distortion in the party room, John, where you end up with, we have now a party room that has a mix of left-wing Liberals and Conservatives that's out of odds with not just the broader Australian community, but the Liberal Party membership. And you then have a debate inside the party room about things like big government that should never even be debated in the Liberal Party, right? It's sort of tablets handed down from Moses that you do not support big government. But they have these puerile debates now because it's so flooded with people that would be better off on the left side of politics.
And we've written about this at the IPA, and somehow Liberals increasingly regard it as a credit to themselves that they are out-labouring the Labor Party to simply stay in government.
Shame on you, right? I mean, there's one thing for John Howard's broad church, but this is not the broad church. This is a takeover.